Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Gary A. Swaby, and you're now listening to or watching the Powercast. And this week, we will be recapping Power Book 4 Force, Episode 5, and the name of the episode is Take Me Home. I'm here with Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How are you doing, Richard?
Doing good, Gary. What's up, listeners and viewers?
Good, good. What's up, indeed? And I'm also here with Miss Dana Abercrombie. How are you doing, Dana? Oh, you're muted.
Hello. Sorry.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing good. Here to talk about this episode. There's a lot of conflicting emotions.
Okay, interesting. Can't wait to hear your takeaways then. But yeah, so we will be recapping this episode of Power today. And we're gonna start with our takeaways where we go around the panel here and we each kind of highlight the things that stood out to us and just kind of how we feel about this episode. And then, after that, we'll move on to our questions and discussions segment where we have more of a back and forth, more of a dialogue about the things that happened in the episode. Before that, though, feel free to chime in the comments. Let us know your thoughts, your takeaways, your theories. Also, hit the like button if you enjoy the content, because the more likes we get, the more we're able to do this stuff. Which takes up a lot of time and it's completely free to all of you. So please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a Batman fan and you're going to be checking out the new Batman, Dana has a bunch of stuff coming for you. You can check out the spoiler-free review, which is up right now. And once you've seen the movie, definitely check out the spoiler podcast, the recap, the review, which is coming this weekend. And Richard, Dana, and some friends are going to be on that, so look out for that. But yeah, let's get right to our takeaways of Power now. And this week we are going to begin with Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. So, Richard, hit us with your takeaways.
All right. So, first and foremost, let me start by saying I actually thought that this was a pretty good episode of Force. I know that it's going to have as Dana mentioned, there's going to be some conflicting thoughts. So, this is going to be an interesting discussion for sure. So, uh, for me, this episode, there were three takeaways. Of course, I have a couple of things that I liked and questioned in each takeaway. So I'm just going to take my time real quick and go through these takeaways. Starting first and foremost, let's talk about Tommy in this episode. As the episode started, he's reflecting on a lot of the things that have happened so far. And then, then jumps to a scene of him driving on the street, and Claudia once again pulls him over. This time, she basically makes him try this Dahlia drug for the first time. And I have to say, I thought this was a rather comical reaction. Tommy just, all of like he fainted on top of his car. I thought that was pretty silly. I have to say, but I know they're trying to let you know this drug has that effect on everybody. It really like blows their mind. So after that happens, he basically goes back to his place and he tries to work with Liliana to find out what exactly this drug is, to see if she can get to the bottom of that. And he tells her that he does not want her to take it. I just want you to test it out, figure out what it is, and in the meantime, he's going to try to get more. Now, one thing I do like about this episode, we finally got a chance to meet Merkovich. And as I said last week, this show needed a villain that I think is going to be somewhat of a threat and not a villain that could be taken out immediately in the same episode, like what happened last week with Tatiana. So Merkovich obviously wants Tommy dead. And pretty much he has this whole plan where he wants to go after Tommy, but he also wants to get Liliana. So one thing that I questioned in this episode, again, and this is a nitpick. So Liliana eventually did try the drug, and then she decided to leave the apartment because that Tommy told her, do not leave the place, stay here. You let me know wherever you go anywhere. So she leaves the apartment. Fast forward later in the scene, apparently she got kidnapped. So we didn't see that coming. We didn't see, there was no scene. I mean, we probably figured that was going to happen, but this is the issue with the writer said, no, you can determine this is probably going to happen because she left. But we never saw it. Now we did see that they had tortured her. You know, she had they broke one of her fingers. So she got tortured, and that scene was meant to show you that she is still a badass, no matter what happens. So very interesting. But I don't like that they didn't really show that. I just wanted to point that out. One other thing I do also want to complain about before I get to a few more positives. We had a scene of JP. He was going through photos. He looked at the video, and I have to admit that I was a little confused by this scene. What I got out of the scene is that he saw a picture in which it was both him and Tommy in it. And the thing is that they've been telling you in this show that Tommy and JP, they didn't really know about each other as kids. But then JP looked at it and he questioned, wait a second, that's Tommy. So I don't really know what the point of that scene was because they didn't revisit it again in this episode. I guess we'll find out in the next episode. But I don't like that they would throw something like that out there and then there's no explanation. Did you have to wait to get a proper explanation? So I look forward to seeing what that is. I have to admit too, when I saw the kid that was in the photo, because there was another black kid, like a bit of a heavy black kid. I thought to myself, wait a minute, what the hell is Kanan doing in this show? So that's why I said I was confused. So they need to explain that for sure next week. But we'll find out. Now, to finish off the Tommy takeaways, there were two things that I did like. I did like the fact that he went out and reached out and teamed up with Vic, Diamond, and Jannard to try to go against the Serbs. That was awesome. I also like the fact that they killed off Simon and Elijah because there had to be some casualties. And we know that Jannard, the person that I am currently sponsoring, has an issue with drugs because you saw him again messing around with the product briefly in this episode. I'm going to make a guess that this character is definitely going to start messing around with the stuff even more so now that he lost his boy behind this. So yeah, I thought it was good, though. It was a great setup to have Tommy get all this help to try to go after the Serbs, and obviously they still didn't get Merkovich, so it didn't work. And the other thing that I thought was good is that, when Tommy had these conversations with Liliana, one thing I really like about that conversation is that she said something about this drug life is the only life that I had. This gave me flashbacks to when Tommy had his interaction with Ghost in season 6, episode 10 of Power, when Ghost basically was saying, I got to leave you behind. And Tommy's like, well, wait a minute, this is all I have. I know that Courtney Kemp wanted to make people think that Tommy would have tried to kill Ghost. But at the end of the day, Tommy is just saying that this drug thing is the only thing I'm good at doing. So you need to, don't take that away from me. Let me continue doing what I'm doing. But he still wanted Ghost to be a part of that, and Ghost didn't want any part of it. So I like that they had that dialogue between Liliana and Tommy. They're building rapport as partners, working together. So that was great. All that was good. So I give them props for that. Moving on to the next takeaway, let's talk about Gloria and the Flynns. This episode, and this is, again, something that I did not like. Now, obviously, we saw Claudia. She actually made a decision she said, obviously she had a lot of tension with May in this episode. And May obviously had a problem trusting her and alluded to her that she would take the product elsewhere if she couldn't trust her, if she wasn't the right Flynn to work with. So I thought it was very interesting that she would just straight up kill her in this episode. I think that was a rather abrupt because obviously you knew that they had a little bit of tension from the last episode, the way she was bossy and all this other stuff. But I thought, like, wow, that's a quick turnaround, because in a couple episodes prior to that, she's like, you're the only one I want to work with. That's it. And then all of a sudden she decides, nope, this drug thing is too big. I don't trust you. You got me access to the product, but now that you want to be difficult, I'm going to have to take you out. And I understand that was her first kill. I'm assuming that's going to have a ripple effect over everything that happens. But I thought that was a little abrupt for them to rush to that immediately. But I guess it is what it is. They have to move the story along. So we'll see what happens next. A couple other things to mention. Tommy, when he did meet up with Claudia, he said that he would do a deal with her 60-40. And she decided that and he asked, and she said that she would give him 60%. If I was Tommy, I would not trust Claudia, because I thought that was very interesting how she just said, okay, yeah, I'll give you 60 and I'll take 40 when you're the one that brought the product into this storyline in the first place. So Tommy needs to watch out for her moving forward. We'll see if he thinks about that. Of course, we have the whole side story of Gloria and Vic buying land for Gloria, just to basically tell her that this is our land. We're going to build a house here. We'll have kids, all this other stuff. And of course, you see Paulie in the distance spying, on Gloria getting busy with Vic. So he goes back and tells Walter. Walter is angry, and Walter decides to confront Gloria at the bar. Shortly thereafter, Vic finds out. He's angry. He comes back and has it out with Daddy, gets slapped in the face. I thought that was pretty funny. But then, you see that Claudia is also there. She hears the conversation, and then she decides to basically go after Gloria, and again, give her the same ultimatum. Say, yes, the land is worth $10.5 million. You can sell the deed, and that's it. So, they made a very good point of saying that Claudia made a comment that after Walter had his falling out with Vic, Claudia made the comment in saying that, he's not ever going to be like you. He's not the one you should be working with. So we're basically telling you, yes, she is the one of the two of them, very much like her father, and wants to do things to do things her way. So what was good about this is that, Gloria told her that Walter is sick. We know that Claudia did not know Walter is sick this whole time. So there's going to be some fallout from that in the next episode, because Vic knows she didn't know. The other thing is that at the end of this scene, we see that the cops are watching all of this activity happening, and then they're going to decide that they're going to go after Paulie to get intel on the Flynns. So I guess we're going to find out even more how his son is going to play a role into this, because obviously I questioned last week, why did they have the son, this whole scene with the son that Paulie has? And again, I don't think it's just because he can give Walter an explanation and say, you know what, you can't always control what your kids decide to do with their life. Obviously, that's going to come into play here, and they're going to probably do something with that, having to do with his son, or to get him on board or whatever. But we'll find out about that. And finally, the final takeaways of this episode has to do with CBI. You saw a scene where Diamond is jogging and he gets stopped by Seamus, the cop. The cop tells him that, that basically, Diamond was involved in putting out a bad batch that killed, back in 2006, that killed several people. One of those people is obviously Seamus's relative. And so that's why I kind of feel like he has a bit of a personal vendetta in this. But what I find interesting is Diamond knows that Seamus has been getting money from the Flynns. I thought that was very interesting, because I didn't see at any point in the season that he actually saw and acknowledged that this was happening. So clearly he must have known. And he did say that, yeah, there were people that were dirty cops on the inside. Maybe that's how he found out. Interesting. But again, he decides to do this deal. Diamond decides to do the deal with Tommy. He negotiates to get 34% of the deal. So he makes sure he has the highest percentage, and he brings this information to Gennard. Of course, they decide to go ahead and do the thing, taking out the Serbs. And then, of course, that, it didn't work out. They got a lot of people, but they did not get the main person they needed to get, and Elijah got killed. So that was a bad direction. However, what I love about everything that happened with CBI in this episode is what Gennard tried to do at the very end, where he tried to kill Tommy with that drive-by and instead shot Liliana. And then he burns the car afterwards, so they won't know it was him that tried to do this. I thought that was excellent, because it tells you now that I fully believe Gennard blames Tommy for what happened to Elijah, because they got involved in all of this stuff because of him. So it makes me very curious to see what's going to happen moving forward now, the next time that character interacts with Tommy. But overall, to wrap things up, I thought it was a pretty good episode. There's a couple of things that I questioned in the episode. and I think they need to explain a couple of other things that do happen moving forward. But overall, I was entertained, so I can't say it was a horrible episode. Definitely better than episode 2, though. I will say that the action made up for the fact that some stuff didn't make sense for me. But I'm very curious to hear what Gary and Dana have to say.
Oh yeah, excellent takeaways. Yeah, you pointed out a lot of stuff that that caught my attention too. Can't wait to dive deeper into some of that stuff that you mentioned. But yeah, excellent takeaways, and definitely let us know your thoughts as well. Who the people listening, let us know your thoughts on all that too. So before we hear from Dana, I'm gonna go ahead and give my takeaways. So yeah, I'll start with the whole Liliana. So throughout this episode, I like that she's basically like a pharmacist or chemist or something. Like she's able to like dissect these drugs and figure out like the right measurements and compositions and all this stuff. And throughout this episode, she's trying to figure out, she's trying to reverse engineer this Dahlia drug and figure out, what's in it and how to make it and everything. And then, we see that, like Richard said, Tommy warns her not to leave the apartment and stuff because the Serbs are still around and they're going to be looking for her. But we see that while she's trying to figure out this drug, she actually ends up taking some, and she kind of gets high instantly, and then she ends up leaving the apartment. And like Rich said, it would have been nice to actually see the moment when she gets picked up, because Liliana can handle herself a little bit. Like if it's just one person coming at her, she can probably put up a fight. So like I would have liked to have seen how they grabbed her and how they see if there was some sort of struggle. I think that would have been entertaining to see. There was a lot of cool action in this episode, but just little moments like that, I think it just boosts the character up a little bit just to see how they handle themselves in these situations. So I feel like that's something we should have seen, like Rich said. But yeah, it was cool seeing Liliana, and I actually have a question about her a little later relating to what happened with her in this episode. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, so we see that Walt gives Gloria the ultimatum in this episode. He tells her to stay away from Vic, and he also, basically tells her he wants her gone from the bar because, obviously they helped her out with the bar and everything, like financially. So I guess he's threatening to kind of pull that support, and he wants her gone completely from the bar. And I guess he thinks that, once she's gone, that temptation of Vic won't be there. But I have to say that, this episode made me dislike Gloria's character a lot more than I did previously, because she's just leading both men on. Like she just doesn't care. Like, it's like 1 minute she's sleeping with Tommy, the show's opening up with them together in bed or whatever. And then like this next episode, Vic takes her out and says, "Oh, I'm gonna build you a house here." And she's looking all happy, like, "Yeah, let's do it." It's like it's so fake. It's so like I just don't like her character. Like, why is she leading on both these guys? Like there is a way to make this seem good. Like there's been strong women in power who have kind of played men. Like look at Monet, right? She was playing Lorenzo and Mecca, and it was kind of cool for her character. Like it worked. But for Gloria, like I just like there's just no reason to like her at all. Like it's like, why just go away, Like it's just she's not doing anything productive in this show besides making some future tension between Vic and Tommy. But the fact that they're already working together and they're already so close, it's like, why should we care at this point? So it's like, yeah, I just don't like Gloria at all. I mean, it is cool the scene between Claudia and Gloria, that was cool though, just because she dropped the whole, your dad is sick and stuff. So now Claudia knows, and I'm waiting to see where that is going to lead in the next episode. If she's going to bring it up to Walter, or if she's just going to observe him from a distance and kind of figure out what's going on. but yeah, besides that, I don't like her. I hope she dies. Like, I'm like Dana on this one. Dana usually likes to see character deaths. Like, I want to see Gloria die. Like, I just don't care about the character anymore. Um, what's up, Dana? You want to react?
I'm ready to fight you. I'm ready to fight both of y'all.
Well, I thought you didn't like Gloria too.
That's not the point. It's the way and why you don't like her. I'm ready to fight both of y'all.
I mean, it's not just that. It's just like they haven't given us a reason to like her. They haven't built her character. They haven't like Tommy came to Chicago and 5 minutes later he was in bed with Gloria. Like it's like what? Like there's no
Well,
development. Of the
they
character.
they had to make sure they gave him enough time to make that soup. So that's why it didn't happen sooner in the episode, and it happened at the end of the episode.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I just like it ties into another gripe I have with the show, and I'm going to get to that in a sec. So I'll summarize that in a moment. But um, yeah, so moving on, what else did I have? Oh yeah, so the whole Claudia, I liked Claudia. That's a character I do like, in this. Claudia, she was very deceptive and sneaky in this. She had Tommy kind of running around doing a bit of recon for her and like, stuff like that. And then she basically snaked May, her friend, the person she's been sleeping with, and then she actually ended up killing her too. So it's like she's kind of just stolen this whole new drug business, and of course she already bribed that other the chemist, the pharmacist lady last week. She already bribed her, so she's got her under her wing. And I guess with Megon, she doesn't have to split anything, and she's 100% in control, and she can continue to run this new drug with Tommy, I guess. So that was a cool development for her character. That and the fact that she now knows that Walt is sick, I think those are great, developments for her this week, and I'm waiting to see where that's going to go next. And now that we've actually seen her kill someone, it's like where will the character go from here now? Because now she's kind of got a ruthless ferocity about her now. Like she's able to kill, and it's like once you make your first kill, they say it gets easier and easier. So it's like, yeah, are we going to see her, be this ruthless, Walt? I mean, not Walt, Flynn character. Are we going to see her, become the boss essentially? So yeah, I want to see where that goes with Claudia in the next few episodes. Um, so yeah, so let's get to some of the things I wasn't really feeling. Now this episode had a lot of action. There was action sequences with the Serbs. I liked that Tommy assembled his team. He made sure to get everyone. He made sure Jannard was there. He made sure Simon was there and everything. Like he wanted everyone at his disposal. He wanted to assemble the Avengers, to take out the Serbs, and he managed to do that, right? But it kind of ended up being Avengers Endgame because like some people got taken out in these action sequences. We saw Simon fall. We saw Jeremiah. What's his name? I forgot the name of the character, Elijah or something like that.
Yeah, Elijah.
Yeah. So he got taken out as well, and of course, Jannard was very unhappy about that. But yeah, those action sequences were great. Like those were the scenes that had me on the edge of my seat. So I think those were very well done, and it kind of adds to the forward development of the story. Uh, because of what happened. Those two characters dying. I want to see what happens with Vic, how he reacts to the loss of Simon. And then, we already got to see what happens with Jannard, and we're going to talk more about that a little later. But so what I didn't like outside of that, because that was like a highlight of the episode, but for me personally, there was a lot of cringy moments in this episode. Like it's just like for some of these scenes, there's a lot of awkward interactions, in my opinion. Like a lot of the scenes feel unnatural. Like even like the Gloria and Walt, that interaction at the bar, like parts of that just felt really unnatural. The dialogue feels off to me. I know, Walt is Irish. I get that, but like his lines just it's just weird. They just feel weird. Like the delivery of the lines, like it feels like they could be set up a lot better, I think. And uh, what else? And also like it just feels like in a lot of scenes, it just feels like characters are speeding through their dialogue. Like it feels like they don't give time for certain things to breathe, like for certain lines to breathe. Like in other shows you might watch, like Snowfall, and I think this is a big part of it too, because I'm watching this show and Snowfall and other shows at the same time. I'm kind of seeing a lot of flaws, like in this show specifically. And it's like in these other shows that I'm watching, even like Euphoria and other shows like that, like they have like very powerful lines, like they make like very powerful statements in the dialogue, and they allow it to breathe. Like they let the viewer sit with these statements that the characters are making, and it just kind of builds to that whole feeling, the whole atmosphere of the scene. But I'm finding that in Power, it's like they just speed through the dialogue like so much. They throw so much at you in every scene, and the episode, overall, like so much happens that it's like they don't let you breathe. They don't let you sit with anything, and it just feels like too rushed to me, like sometimes. And 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 yeah, like then the moment Rich spoke about with the Tommy, it was a funny moment, so I'll give them that. It was a comical moment at the start where Claudia, she kisses Tommy, and she kind of gives him the drug. Essentially, she gives him a hit of the drug, and then he falls back onto the car. Like, fair enough, that's a funny moment. But like, just with the way the rest of the show is structured, I like sometimes I don't know if I'm watching a comedy or a drama. Like, I just it's very confusing. Like there's ways to make those really weird comedy moments hit, but then also maintain the atmosphere of the show as well. Like look at Breaking Bad. Like that had a lot of comical moments in it, but it was still a serious show. Like there was still serious stuff going on. There was a nice balance there, but in this show, I'm just not feeling the balance very well. Like it just ends up feeling like just a joke of a show, like a comedy or something. And I think my biggest gripe with this show so far, because it's been 5 episodes now, it's half a season, right? So I think they're just rushing through the whole story period, because they introduce a lot of new characters. I feel like they could have slowed it down a little bit just to build these characters, just to develop them a little more. Characters like Diamond and Claudia and Vic and Gloria, like just some of these characters, like just give us a bit more time with them to really understand who they are, that what makes them tick. JP also, because I find myself not caring about him at all at this moment. So like, yeah, I just feel like these first 5 episodes should have slowed the story down a little bit more, because if you look at it, like Tommy came to Chicago and pretty much like he unified the whole drug situation, like the whole gang situation. He unified all the gangs and took over Chicago in like 3 episodes. Like, who does that? Like, I know Tommy's very experienced. He's battle tested with Ghost, but nobody. It's not possible. You can't do that in real life. It's a little too fast, man. Like he took over Chicago in like 3-4 episodes. Like, and I don't know. It's not believable. I feel like they should have slowed things down a little bit, and especially because now it seems like they're not going to do the whole he goes back to New York thing, because I think we're after that part already. So because they're not going to be doing that, it's like they could have actually took their time. Like there was no reason to rush. Like they could have slowed it down and just let us sit with these characters and understand them a bit more. And then some of these moments that they're having now would have felt a lot more earned, in my opinion. So yeah, I think that's just the problem I'm having with Force in general. But the Power universe, I still love it. It's still very much entertaining. I'm not saying it's not entertaining. I still enjoy watching the show, and I'm still going to continue to watch the show. not just because of this podcast, but because I love the Power universe. But I just wanted to be a bit real with how I feel about the show so far. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who disagree with me in the comments, and please make yourselves known. I accept all criticism, all any rebuttals. Just hit me with that. But also, if you feel similar, also let that be known too. I just want to kind of get a gauge on how everyone's feeling about it. I have seen some other reviews of what people are saying too, and it's pretty mixed out there. So that's interesting. But yeah, that's just how I feel about this episode and the season so far. Um, but Dana was making a lot of faces at me, so I want to know what she has to say, about uh, this episode and Power and Force. So take it away, Dana. Hit us with your takeaways.
Y'all on drugs. Y'all doing some of Claudia's drugs, cause what y'all be saying don't be making no sense. Straight
Ouch.
up, I'm going to like start calling up AA and get y'all help. It's true. First of all, Liliana doesn't need to be shown in everything. We as viewers are not dumb and could pretty much tell the entire time Tommy was saying, "Don't leave the apartment. Don't leave the apartment." She goes and takes a hit, and then she's all wobbly wobbly and walks out the door. We already know what is going to happen when she leaves because it did a great job bashing us over the head with "You're a wanted woman. They're going to kill you." Oh, the other one, the Serb guy. "We have to find Tommy again." I'm sure that's not his accent. But the other guy, everyone wants to find Tommy, and they know that Liliana they also need to find because she was the one who killed Tatiana. So we don't need to see anything. Once she walked out of the door, I said, "Oh no, she's in trouble." And then guess what? The next scene, she was in trouble. So yay for that one. Another thing is with what's her name? Claudia's girlfriend, me, um my it seemed to be like someone yet they didn't really show like a really close bond in the sense it wasn't like a ghost situation with their closeness. It felt like they were in business together and in bed together, but it really didn't feel like it was something that was uh mm, that Claudia she wanted this in order to make a name out of herself and to prove herself not only to I don't really think so much as her father. There's a point when you have to say screw other people and just kind of concern about yourself, and her goal was to rise up and make that happen. And my was someone who was just really in the way. Um and because of that and because of her I don't want to say back talking but kind of back talking, she had to go. She was, it was a lot of arguments, and it was something that I felt that was bound to happen because we kind of kept seeing more of her. And I thought that they established a really good letting us know that, she might end up going because of how she was introduced. We know that she's the one who's the kind of the creator ish of this drug. We know that she has a close connection to Claudia. They kept showing her in bed with her. But at the end of the day, this is about kind of the drug game. And even if you take away the drugs, it's about getting that power and building up your business. So you just kind of know that when you have conflict with your business partner, someone's got to go. Investigation ID, Dateline 2020, they all told us this before. So I didn't have a problem with that. I actually liked it. I thought it helped to move the story forward and that she was able to create her own ties. So I like that. I also liked the way how Tommy reacted to the drugs. Apparently, no one in here likes Euphoria because this whole episode was basically sponsored by Euphoria. Um, I thought they did a really great job of showing us that this was something that was new from the streets, how it immediately affects you. And it was interesting to see Tommy, because Tommy, that we always know, is someone who's always focused, always very aware of everything. And to see him for that one moment, just like to the point where he sprawled out on his car, just showed how good that drug must have been. So I like that very much so. One of the other things about this whole thing, it kind of felt very Julia. How does it go? Romeo and Juliet. Where you had the warring houses, and you had Gloria and the whole situation with Gloria and Victor, and then the father steps in. You're not good enough for my daughter, and then you would have the other Claudia come in and be like, here's some money, please go away. It felt very like Romeo and Juliet. We have to keep the two people apart. Even when they was taking when Simon was taking, was it Simon? No. Anyway, when the guy was taking the photos of Victor and Gloria, it kind of felt very to me like here's the proof, Romeo and Juliet type of situation. The only way I feel like for Victor to be able to grow is for Walter to just hurry up and die. And he's getting there. We saw him coughing and wheezing. Claudia doesn't know, so I wonder how that's going to affect her. Obviously, she's going to be very mad because Victor knows, but she doesn't know. And that just in general, drugs or not, that's going to set you off just a certain way. I mean, imagine you had your father and everybody's keeping the secret from you. You're left out. And then also moments that you could spend together, you haven't because you didn't know he was dead or dying. So that sucks right there. But it's gonna be really interesting to see how she responds because she was like, "What?" She was really taken aback, and Gloria said it with like such purpose. It wasn't like, "Oops, you didn't know. I'm sorry." It was like, "Ah, I told you something you didn't know." So I like that. Um, I think that Victor is slowly getting his backbone. We talked about this earlier, how he didn't have a spine and it's slow building blocks. We are on, what is it, A1, T tricep? I'm not sure what you call them, but he's getting there. They're building blocks. I appreciate that. One of the things that I really didn't like, though, was Tommy seemed real. The show itself did a really great job of showing all of the people that Tommy lost, throughout the previous Power and all of its seasons, and with Ghost and Tommy and his girlfriend, and then the Holly and everyone throughout his life he lost. And I kind of thought that this would kind of make him harden a little bit. I remember saying in the first episode that I really liked the conversation that him and Gloria had, and it kind of seemed like they had like this shared sense of loss because remember her husband never came back and how he lost Lakeisha and basically the stepson and everyone else. They're just no longer a part of his life or they're dead. Um, it's really interesting because I would have expected Tommy to become hardened after that, but he genuinely cares about Liliana. Um, and it seems like something from the heart, and especially when she was shot. It wasn't like, oh, this is my business partner, I need you to stay alive because you make the drugs. It genuinely seemed like when he was like, it went through and through and you're okay, it's gonna be great. It kind of felt like, oh, he cares at that moment. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that kind of means I expected Liliana to die this whole episode. I'm surprised she's not dead. But we'll see with that. The other thing that you mentioned, Richard, that I don't understand what you didn't understand was the fact that JP, Black Tommy, he saw that him and Tommy were in the same, literally feet away from each other, and that basically they could have grown up knowing each other, and they forgot throughout time. I mean, if you look at, remember Pixar, remember Bing Bong. Bing Bong was the character that you had throughout your childhood, the imagination, and you have to keep dumping the memory files in order for you to create new memories. And Bing Bong had to go. I think as you get older, there are certain things that you forget. And they could have had a meeting one or two times when they were kids, and they would have just completely forgot about it. Nobody's going to say, hey, that's your brother. Maybe they was just there, reuniting with what was it, Katie? Kate's is his mom, right? Kate and the father. And it wasn't no big thing, and they was just happened to be in the same area and they never knew. That to me brings more suspicion upon their parents, where maybe Tommy one is going to, maybe because of what JP's seen, he's gonna now address his father and be like, why are we in the same picture? What's going on? Did you lie to me? Did you always know he was there? And maybe we could see Kate. And because JP tells everything about Tommy, and Tommy was so adamant about not seeing Kate, maybe JP goes to look up Kate, and that's what happens there. Um, I actually like the fact that they had that, and they didn't really need to explain everything because we've been through this like 4 other episodes. Another thing that was really interesting was Diamond. And the dirty cop. It was weird that the dirty cop thought he had something on him until he was like, "Yeah, and you're paying that white boy," and he was like, "Oh my god, how do you know? Get out my car!" So I wonder how he's going to use that over him. Will they create some kind of partnership with that extra protection? I don't know. So that's another thing that I wonder. Um, I also really liked that they were able to all work together. Remember, that was the initial plan, was to bring together all of the different gangs and kind of have like Gary said, Avengers Endgame, or was it Richard? So the Avengers Endgame thing was really good. I liked that as well. It was nice to see Diamond actually cutting hair, because we haven't seen that this entire season so far. We just know that he has a barbershop, but we never saw him cut hair. So I don't know what that is, but we got to see him.
Gary is one of his customers.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, the customer.
I'm the patient barbershop customer, because there was a customer in this episode where he was on the phone and he stopped cutting his hair, and I've had that experience many times, and I understand how mad he was in that moment, the customer. So
They did a whole episode of that on Atlanta. Remember that thing with Paperboy? He went to go get his hair done.
Yeah, that fantastic show. That was a really funny episode.
And it's back. The trailer is up. We're getting season 3. Yay!
Mhm.
So no, I really liked that, and I really liked Gerard. The whole thing where we're finally getting something. We're finally, a lot of talk has been happening these previous episodes, but we're finally seeing Gerard. We already know that he doesn't like Tommy. He did a wonderful exposition about how he feels that he's taking away everything that he built up for the 15 years and just coming in and trying to take his place, and he doesn't even belong to the family. He didn't, you know, put in any of the work. And so seeing this drive by, I like that. And then him burning the car and him looking over the city. If you look at the universe itself has a lot of scenes of people just looking over at the city as something burns in the background. So overall, I thought it was an okay episode. I liked it. I would have taken the money. Gloria, please be smart. Take the money and run. Nobody's worth it. And overall, I did not really have that much of a problem, aside from it being a little bit corny when Tommy is getting really kind of close to Liliana and he didn't sleep with her, and I appreciate that. I'm tired of that. But he's forming some kind of relationship, some friendship that was really interesting.
was that all the takeaways?
And I could monologue. Do you want me to monologue some more?
Oh no, it's up to you. If you got more, then feel free. But
No, this really was a side thing. I like the fact that they used Amir, what is his name? Jonovic. They used one of the Serbian guy's ID from the previous episode to cut the drugs for this episode.
Oh right, yeah, yeah. Cool detail.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, great takeaways. And yeah, we're gonna have to really dissect this whole JP thing in a little bit, but we'll get there, in our questions and discussions. And yeah, I by the way, I did misspell my name here, my little funny name here. I know that, but it's all good. It's Friday. I can't be bothered to change it, so you guys can roast me. It's cool. I don't care. But yeah. So just a quick reminder before we get to our questions and discussions. Please, if you're enjoying the conversation, if you have something to say about our takeaways or something we said, leave your comments. Also, consider liking the video and subscribing, and check out some of the other cool content we got here. We are doing a lot right now. So yeah, be sure to check that out. So Dana, was you gonna say something?
I completely forgot. I was in this episode of Power.
Oh, yeah, go let them know.
It was a line with Gerard when he was sitting down and he was talking to his brother Diamond, and he was basically calling them, Abercrombie and bitches, and saying, how dare you go and do something with them. So Abercrombie, yay, I made it. I'm famous.
Yeah, there you go. She was in it. She was in it. So maybe I do like the episode a little bit more because Dana was in it. But yeah, still got my gripes though. But yeah, so let's get to our questions and discussions, because this is going to be real fun this week, I think. So so the first thing we'll get to is has Jannard, has he fully lost his cool now? So he lost his friend Elijah in the shootout. And that obviously upset him a lot. And then at the episode, he ends up like, driving by in the truck and shooting at Tommy and Liliana, and he hits Liliana. I guess he was aiming for Tommy, but he hit Liliana. And then, at the end of the episode, we see him, he's got that ruthless look on his face, like, it's not over yet. Like, he's still agitated. So I want to ask you guys, like, has he fully lost his cool? Is he gonna continue to be cooperative with his brother, or is he just 100%, ready to just get rid of Tommy at this moment now? Like, what do you think is gonna be up with Jannard in the next episode? So Dana, what are you thinking about that?
I mean, we just saw him do a drive-by, so I think that question is kind of answers its own self. Like,
So you
do
think
you
there's
think
no
he's
way?
really angry and then like, he does a drive-by? No, he's really
But, but
happy.
but do you think like his brother will be able to cool him down? Like, are they gonna be able?
No!
Are they gonna be able to
No!
reason with him?
No!
Okay.
First of all, it was previously with the previous episodes. It stated that he was working against his brother and that he wasn't going to say anything. E or Elijah, Easy E, whatever his name is, was the only one who kind of really knew because he was the one who talked to him. So it was building up to the point where he is genuinely sick and tired of seeing Tommy. And he feels that one, he's taking everything that he worked for. He explained 15 years, I had to build this on my own. Yes, thank you for what you did, but you went to jail. I'm the one who kept it running. It's kind of like a scorned parent whose spouse left them and left them alone with the kids. And for 15 years, they had to raise their children. And then here comes the dad or the mom back. Hi, I'm back. I'm ready to be a parent. And they're like, what for what? I've been doing this for 15 years. Well, and so it feels like it's two things at once. One, he wants his brother and he wants to work with him side by side. He's having friction with his brother because his brother doesn't want to run the business how he is running it now. He wants to be stuck in that 2005 way, right? And so that's frustrating him well. So like, okay, we're gonna figure this out. Then you have someone who doesn't even belong in what they've been building, who's not even part of the family, some random white man come in and be like, I'm the boss now. I'm gonna take your brother away. And you're like, what is going on? Since when did you, the random white dude, as Abercrombie and bitches started coming in and started to run things that I've built up for 15 years? You're taking away my brother. We were supposed to run this, and he states this. We're supposed to run this together. But now all of a sudden, you're running off with, white Klansmen. Not saying he's Klan, but just in general, that's how he feels. On top of that, it's a white guy, which he already stated, it's a white guy. So yes, he's very frustrated. And there was a point where you said they saw them two together and they was talking and they could discuss, and maybe there was something where they can see each other. Even during that boxing ring match that they had, they were fighting, trying to kill each other, but they were still communicating. They were still talking. There was a thing of respect. With this whole Tommy situation, it just keeps pushing him to the boiling point. So you've seen him literally do a drive-by. So what more do you? He's literally showing you on screen. He's trying to kill, and it's not like he was just aiming for Tommy. He was aiming for everyone at this point. Tommy, Liliana, Serbs, anybody who was around Tommy, he really did not care if they died. That's why we all do drive-bys. Not we as in a we sense, but they. Yay!
Oh, spicy. Okay. Yeah, because like the point of the question also is like, because if he has reached this breaking point where he just doesn't care anymore and he's gonna get Tommy out of here, if that's the point he's reached now, that means that this is gonna push Diamond to make a decision. Like, he's going to have to make a choice between his brother and Tommy, because now if Jannard is going full force at Tommy, then he is going to be caught in the middle of that. So that's the point behind the question. If he's reached that breaking point now, that means we're going to see some crazy things happen. So
Well, yeah, we're gonna see the separations of the brothers. I think that Diamond is someone who is more of a thinker, and that Gerard is someone who is the the doer in the sense of he reacts more than he thinks, and we've seen it already there were moments where you could talk to him. He's kind of Kane in that situation, or you could also previously say he was Tommy in the original Power in that situation. If we're doing some type of correlation where, things are not working out, he's going to proctor someone. And as we saw him trying to proctor someone, and it's going, if his brother does find out, it's going to cause a huge rift, and it's not going to be good, because not only did he try to take out Tommy, but we also know the whole situation with the Serbs. How does the Serbs react to that? Because they don't know who was trying to shoot him. They didn't know that Tommy was the actual target. I don't even know if Tommy was, if he was just the sole target, if it was just like everybody, and we just call it a day. So now you have extra anger on top of whatever happened with this episode with the Serbs. Now you have them extra angry on top of this. So it's going to be an all-out kind of war situation, and I don't see the brothers, if he's able to find out what happened, I don't see it being reconciled at all. I see the brothers will have to split. Also, on top of this, I'm now wondering, we already know what happened with Liliana. Liliana's like, I can die and I'm fine. That's great. Wonderful. JP. The second that Gerard figures out that JP and Tommy are brothers, if he starts doing that looking, or maybe he's going to start hiring the cop guy. Remember, he's already paying the cop. And so maybe he's going to use the cop to be his eyes, and they're going to find out the connection, and they start going after JP. And that'll set things off even worse.
Yeah, some interesting theories there, but yeah, if Jannard really was trying to proctor someone, I think he's gonna need to buy a lot more ammunition, because like he's gonna end up wasting a lot of bullets if he's trying to proctor someone. But yeah, interesting points. So Richard, what do you think of this whole Jannard thing? Like, is this the breaking point? Is this the turning point in his relationship with both Tommy and his brother now? What do you think?
I think that Dana made some very good, interesting points. There are a few things that I do want to mention, though. In the previous episode, Elijah had this conversation with Jannard, and from that conversation, Jannard was saying, yes, it was supposed to be me and you running all of this together. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, Diamond was in the picture, but it was really about the fact that him and Elijah, they worked together to build this thing when Diamond was away. So, yes, this is definitely the motivation to say that it's a turning point for the character. The other thing is that in the previous episode, when Jannard had to watch Liliana, again, he was using in that episode. Very briefly, he snorted some coke, and she made a comment about that. And then he was once again talking about, we need to get Tommy. I don't like this Tommy guy. In this episode, he did it again while he was talking to Elijah. So I think, yes, he will continue to use, and you're going to see a lot more of that, I think, as in the next couple of episodes, because he's dealing with all of that as well. But the other key thing here, and Dana hinted on this, she touched on this, is that, yes, first and foremost, he does not know that Tommy is alive yet. He's figuring that he was able to shoot somebody. He did not know, there was no confirm that he actually killed Tommy, because Liliana jumped in front of Tommy to make sure that she got the shot instead of him. So he doesn't know that yet. Obviously, he's going to be surprised when he finds out. Tommy, the next time Tommy stops by the barbershop and has an interaction with Diamond and he's there, he's going to be surprised by that. But here is the key thing. This whole time, Jannard has been building up these soldiers. We haven't yet had a situation where D-Mac, who is JP's son, hasn't really come into contact with Tommy on the level of there being an issue. Yes, they were prepared to shoot Tommy that first time when he came to the barbershop, but there hasn't been any interaction between those characters ever since that. So I feel like in order for you to find out what, how this whole thing is going to play out with D-Mac and JP and Tommy, because they are family, that has to be progressed. And I think that Jannard, his next play is going to be, well, maybe I will have my group of guys go after Tommy now, because obviously he got rid of the vehicle that he was using. That doesn't mean he can't try to go after Tommy again. But I think now he's going to take those soldiers that are already aligned with him and send them after Tommy from here on out next. So it'll be very interesting to see how it goes. That's why I said I was glad to see the character make a turn like this, because we know that he didn't like Tommy from the very beginning, and they needed to find a way to progress the storyline. So yes, this is a turning point for him, and I think that he's going to have multiple things he's going to try to do to Tommy. However, when he finds out that Liliana is the one that got shot, he might feel a certain type of way about that, because he obviously likes Liliana. He obviously thought that there was something there. So we know the character survived, so she's fine. If the character who died, though, that would have been very devastating. But we'll see what happens next. But yeah, I think overall, this is a turning point for Gennard as a character. And now we're going to see how he operates unhinged. And if it comes down to a situation, as you said, Gary, where his brother has to choose between him and Tommy, I'm very curious to see what he's going to actually do, because that's a very tough decision. So we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, you make some great points, and that would be very interesting if Gennard ends up sending the rest of the team after Tommy, and then we get a face off between D-Mac and Tommy. So yeah, that would be pretty interesting, because that is his nephew, essentially. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that. But so there was another murder, another killing, I should say, that happened in the shootout, and that was Simon. And we got to see Gennard's reaction to Elijah being killed, but we didn't really get to see a whole lot of Vic after that. We didn't get to see him process Simon's death much. So I want to ask, like, how is that death going to affect Vic moving forward? Like, is it going to have a big effect on him and his mentality, do you think? So Rich, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think the one of the main things about the way that this shootout happened is that obviously there were a lot of bodies left at the scene of the crime. The police are going to investigate that. And when they find out that Simon's body is there, I definitely think that Seamus is going to have come right after Vic and ask for some questions. Because again, we saw there was a previous episode where Simon got arrested. Okay, they brought him into the jail, and Vic bailed him out. So I definitely think they're going to have questions about what was your friend doing at the scene of the crime dead. So we'll see how that plays out. But I don't really know. The thing is this: we've seen the Simon character. I don't really think he was highly regarded as somebody that is that important to Walter or Vic. Yes, he's a friend of Vic. So, but obviously, if Walter finds out that he got killed behind this, and we already know Walter is going to find out the Serbs did that, then yeah, he's going to definitely blame Vic for that. I think Vic is going to be dealing with a little bit of guilt, but at the same time, you had to know going into this, there's going to be some casualties. So yes, he did have a very brief time with him when he saw that he was dead, a brief moment to pay respects, but he couldn't really do that because they were still, in the midst of trying to take out the rest of these guys. So, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't impact him as much. Yes, he will have a little bit of guilt, but again, that character is not important. Now, if that was Gloria, it's a totally different situation. Vic will just be devastated if she was the one that got shot. But with Simon, I don't think he just understands it is what it is. There had to be a casualty. Things didn't quite work out the way that they wanted it to work out. It would have worked out better if they took out Merkovich, because that was the whole reason that they did all of this, and he wasn't even there. So, but yeah, I don't think it's going to impact him too heavily. But Walter, when he finds out, he's going to definitely press his son about this, because all this happened because he decided to go behind his back and try to do this whole thing. So that's where it's going to come into impacting him.
Oh yeah, great point there. Yeah, and I guess Simon, he wasn't like a huge important character in the Flynn family and stuff, but one thing I'll say is, I guess he did kind of have like a friendship with Vic in particular. And I feel like now that Vic has one less friend in the world, I feel like he might rely more on his bond with Gloria. If you can call it a bond, I don't know. But like, he might end up trying to confide in Gloria a bit more, just because he doesn't now have that friendship with Simon. And he doesn't have a whole lot of people that he could talk to off the record, I guess, because with his father and his sister, it's like family business and everything. But yeah, go ahead. What was you gonna say, Rich?
one quick point that I want to mention since you just brought it up. The
Mm,
thing about it that with Tommy is that he is actually working with both Flynns because he's working with Claudia also.
yes.
Vic does not know that. So
Mm,
I think when Vic finds that out, you're gonna be like, oh, so Tommy is double dipping. Then he might also be angry at Tommy because
yeah.
he's thinking the whole time that him and Tommy are the only one that got a deal going on. So that definitely gonna cause some conflict, I think, moving forward once he finds that information out.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's definitely another thing to think about. Because Tommy is double dipping. He's doing stuff with Vic and Claudia. And they don't know about the Claudia thing at all. So yeah. Once that comes to light, that's gonna cause problems too. But then also, if he starts leaning on Gloria a bit more because his friend got killed, and I'm sure he might end up approaching her and kind of like just like letting off his feelings to her about Simon, being dead. And we know that, Walt doesn't like that. He like we saw in this episode that he doesn't want to see them together anymore, basically. So I think that is going to put a lot more strain on that whole thing with Walter. So I guess that's something that could come from, Simon being gone. But Dana, how do you think Simon being dead is going to affect Vic?
Very simple. He's gonna get back to Walter because Walter knows everything. He has his little right hand man dude. So he's gonna get to Walter, and Walter is gonna be like, "You stupid idiot! I was the one who told you this from the very beginning, which is why I didn't want to do this." Now the Serbs are gonna go after them, and it's going to create this huge all-out war situation. And he's like, that's okay, I might be dying, but look what you're going to basically kill the business by getting your stupid behind killed because you want to go and involve yourself with these other people, or the black people, as he's going to start saying and slanderizing. Oh, those negroes, tired of this. So it's gonna just start angering him, and he's gonna be one of those "I told you so, you stupid idiot." And then Claudia, of course, is gonna jump in there and be like, "See, look, da, he's stupid, just like I said so. I should be running things." This is gonna start creating even more conflict between the two. Um, and what was really interesting was the was what was it Walter's right hand man. He kind of explained about there's only so much you can do with your children, and I wonder if how he might have to kind of be a barrier, or maybe he may have to take someone out. Again, I'm looking at Gloria sideways. You're talking about whether or not he's going to confide in Gloria. I'm trying to figure out if she's even going to be there. It's $10 million. Bye. Like, it's too much. Like, it's not even like, oh, but she loves him. Yeah, but it's a lot of stress. You have the father who's basically threatened very nicely to kill you, even though he's half dying. He's threatened basically you. That was it. Like, I was surprised she's alive. I expected her face to be slammed into the thing, but it wasn't. So it's like it just brings a lot of stress and aggravation. Victor doesn't have a backbone yet. It's in the building stages. You have the father who genuinely hates her. He puts her life at risk by basically it looked like he was threatening. At that moment, he could have easily killed her. Then so you know that her life could easily be in danger. Whatever it is that I don't think she fully knows the extent of what everyone is involved in, but that puts her life in danger as well. So when you really look at it, that $10 million is like, why should I be here? I have a bar, but I still have to keep paying your dad for the bar, and the kitchen's small, and I could take my pepper pots too on the road.
Can I ask a quick question for Dana?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if Gloria takes that 10 million, now would you say the character is horrible?
No. I'm rooting. Screw love. Take the $10 million. You can buy love.
Yeah.
As Walter said, you're a very attractive lady. You're so gorgeous. Any man will want you. You can go have lots of babies. So go have lots of babies elsewhere for $10 million. You can take care of them.
Yeah.
And the location of the house looked like it was literally in like one of those parking lots. I'm sorry. It could have been like better. I didn't like the landscape. Point I'm simply saying is, I don't think Gloria, if I'm doing this, Gloria's not going to really be there. I'm okay with Gloria just bouncing and being like, this is too much for me. I want to go home. So in terms of who he'll have to kind of grow closer with, I don't really know at this point. He may have to end up going to Claudia and figuring things out with them. I mean, if you look at it, she needs kind of extra help. May's dead. She killed May. Was it May? I'm not sure. But she killed her. So maybe Victor comes in and kind of helps with the distribution and whatever it is that you do when you are in that line of business. So they may end up be working closer together. I don't know what the original question was.
It was just about Simon, but it's cool. Yeah,
Oh, Simon, he's dead.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry. See,
Yeah.
I have
But
ADHD. I'm so sorry. So, what happened was with Simon in that whole situation. Yes, he's upset. Yes, it's going to anger him, but I kind of feel that he'll get over it. They knew what it was they was walking into. This is something that's not like, I was just standing on the corner and then my friend died. They knew it was kind of a suicide mission. They said it before. This is a suicide mission. So some people died, and that is very unfortunate. Gerard in the whole drug situation, I don't really view him as like a drug addict. Maybe he'll get there. Um, but and also another thing, please stop thinking that Gerard or any of these people really genuinely care about Liliana. I don't think that Gennard cares about Liliana.
Well, he definitely want to sleep with Liliana. We
Yeah,
know that
but
much.
sleeping and caring are two different things. Come on now. It means like I want a burger right now, but I'm not going to make this a long time commitment of every week I'm going to go. And this is a really bad analogy, but the point is, you hit it and quit it because you're like, oh, I did it, yay, and then you go on about your life.
Oh yeah, I do think he would feel a little guilty if he finds out that she got hit with that.
No, I don't think he cares. You honestly think he cares?
Well, I guess we'll have to find out next week.
I don't think he cares. I think he'd be like, oh, okay, and what's next? Is my brother and I back together again? I don't see him caring.
Yeah, I think he would. I think
he knew about Liliana because remember, Tommy was all like, "We gotta go help her, guys. We gotta go help her," and it was like, "Nah, peace out. We did our job." That's why he knew exactly where he was at.
Yeah, but it's different when you're the one that takes the shot.
But he did a drive-by. He did a drive-by where he sprawled. It wasn't like, I'm going to aim for just one person. He did a spray.
Yeah.
So it didn't really matter where the bullets laid, long as people got hit, including Tommy.
Yeah.
At first, I thought he was going to help him, but then I was like, "Oh no!"
Oh no!
My thing is as well. Like, didn't he have like mirrors in that car? Because like, how does he not know that he didn't hit Tommy? Like, surely you look at the mirror and like.
No, because if you're driving, okay, look, you should know this because you're like fascinated with drive-bys, and you write drive-bys. You're paying attention to the task at hand, and then you have to go because you end up getting arrested. So it's not like, oh wait, did I hit him? Let me make a U-turn. Let me go back slowly and see if I hit him. You just keep going and hope for the best.
All I'm saying is it would be stupid for him to assume that Tommy is dead. That's all I'm saying. Like maybe he could think he hit him, but it would be stupid to think that he's dead.
I would think that he was dead.
He didn't even check. So I mean,
how do you check during the drive-by? You have this called a drive-by, not a drive-by and come back.
Hey Gary, now that you said that reminds me of Power Season 6, Episode 1, where Ghost just shoots up a car. You see, it's somebody in the car. I don't know if it's Tommy, but it's Tommy's car. So that's what made me. I laughed when I saw that because it's just a shooting, and they didn't check the body, nothing. Yep.
The drive-by, you're not supposed to check the body. You guys have not seen drive-bys. We have to take you on a drive-by along.
They never check the body in Power. I mean, look at Kanan came back to life. Like they never check the body, man. Like, so this is just a Power thing. So that's just what it is.
It's a drive-by. I'm so confused by this.
But yeah, interesting conversation. Can't wait to see what the people say. So let's address this JP thing because we have to talk about this. Like so Dana, I respect your what you said earlier, where you basically said that the picture that JP was holding, that was him as a child, and Tommy was in the back and everything. And maybe that is what they're trying to say with this scene. That he's looking at a picture of himself, and then he realizes that Tommy's in the background. Cool. If that's if that's what they're saying, okay. But I just want to say that this story just isn't believable to me. It's not hitting because, and the reason I say that is because, like, we're supposed to believe that Tommy has this history in New York where him and Ghost were basically brothers. They grew up as brothers, pretty much. Kate treats Ghost like he's a son, right? And you're also telling me that he now has a history, a distant history in Chicago, like, and maybe maybe Kate had them around each other, and she didn't tell them they were brothers. Okay, cool, but you mean to tell me neither of them remembers that? Like,
Yes.
you don't remember spending any time with your mother in Chicago?
No.
In the day?
No, you going back to Bing Bong. Remember, when you're a certain age, remember, I think it was Inside Out or one of them, Bing Bong, your memory can only store so much of everything. You think that your brain can remember everything that happened in your entire lifetime. No.
If I took a trip with my mom somewhere when I was a kid, I
And
still
some
remember it
random
now. I
white
remember it
boy
like
comes
it
up
happened.
and you
I remember
share
it
a
like it happened.
ball together and you play in the playground. Are you going to remember, hey, in 1982, there was this little white kid I played a ball with. I only seen him for 10 minutes, but I remember that.
I think like because they tell us they grew up in New York, right? So if you tell us that they went to Chicago, I think he would remember that trip a little bit
Mm-mm.
because he's in a new
I
surrounding.
have
Like
been to
he
trips
told
that
me.
I can't even remember I went on as a kid. I'll be like, what's that? And my mother looked at me like, stupid. I took you there when you was 3 years old. I was like, I don't remember.
Okay, what was you gonna say, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, I also agree. I mean, I agree with what both of you said. That I think Dana made a good point. I think you made a good point. I think the problem here is that, from a writing standpoint, you need to show instead of suggest,
Not
as
every
if the person is going to know exactly. Oh yeah, they don't need to explain it at all. I disagree with that because
They had the whole videotape that
yeah,
explained it. He was watching, he was getting all in his feelings and remembering the past, and
yep,
he's looking at the photo and not the he's looking at the video of what was it, Kate walking by or whatever, something with Kate. And he's like, wait a second, that looks familiar to me. And then he goes digging through the pile of pictures. He is supposed to remember that some random white kid in the back is actually his brother. Do you know how many times that we've actually seen and we saw on like internet stories of like, and I met my husband when I was 3 years old, but I never knew it. And it was literally the guy who was a kid standing in the back,
yeah,
and she's like, and she's like 4 or whatever, and he's in the back going, ah, and they don't know each other, and that ended up being her husband. She doesn't remember that.
yeah.
And if your parents are actively trying to keep you away from someone, they're not going to sit and say, hey, yeah, that boy you played with, that's your brother. Every day, that's your brother. You remember your brother? That's your brother. No. So you're going to end up forgetting it. You're not going to really pay attention to what you did as a kid to now as a grown adult with your own lifestyle and your own problems and your kid trying to shoot you every 2 seconds.
I
Okay,
agree. Well, let me just say this real quick. I agree, and I would say that therein lies the problem because this episode is all about setting up this confrontation with the Serbs. Anyone that watches this show, that's what they're going to remember from this episode. They're not going to remember this scene with JP because it's out of context, and it's not going to be revisited again until next week. That's why I question
That's what we do
why.
with episodic.
Oh no, I understand that, but I think it's not like it's not so important of a detail. That's why when Gary said he doesn't care about the storyline, I fully understand that because this whole episode it was about that confrontation with the Serbs and what was going to happen. It literally started and ended with that. So to have these other little things in there, especially, and I know they just had to make sure they had to get the actor in the episode, right? Because everybody would have been talking if he was not in this episode. They'd be like, "Where's JP at? Why wasn't he in the episode?" So I understand you had to have him in the episode, but I kind of feel like there should have been some type of interaction with Tommy, brief or whatever, or just to allude to what happened in that scene. I agree. It makes sense what you said. That they definitely, it's very possible the father is lying about some stuff that he said to his son, and I totally get that. I'm just saying for anyone that watches this show, because there are going to be some people that watch this show and they're going to be confused. They're going to be like, "What does this mean?" And again, it's not really a major highlight of this episode. The highlight is the Serbian showdown that left Simon and Elijah dead. Rest in peace.
Yeah, like what Richard said is basically, I think that's why I have a problem with. Like, it's just the random context. Like, there's just no context to this. Like, they just, okay, there's a video, there's a photo, cool. You're showing me this moment that apparently neither of them remember, where they was like right next to each other. Okay, cool. Now what? It's like, there's just no context. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do next week to actually explain this scene and why it was relevant, because there's other things they could have did with that airtime, to build up other things, or even JP, like they could have did something better to build up his character even than this. Like, I just don't understand why this was necessary. So I hope they do something really good with it next week to make up for it. Because it's just, the context it's just weird. It's just like out of nowhere, and I just don't understand. And then it just kind of like conflicts a little bit with what we already know about Tommy. It just seems like they're just trying to like tweak his whole background existence now, like after telling us that him and Ghost grew up as brothers. It's like, where are you going with this? So,
and let me add one last thing. I mean, I don't have a problem with the JP story, but I think the more interesting part of that story is the fact that JP doesn't know what Tommy really does, and the revelation of how he will react when he finds out what Tommy does, and the fact that his son is also involved in this. That is the interesting part of the story. I don't really care too much about them growing up as kids and all this other stuff. That is what I want to see, because he's been lying to him this whole time about what he actually does.
JP knows. He knows, he's just not addressing it. If some random man is handing you, not random, but still, if a man is handing you what, 100,000, whatever it was, you're not going to think, oh, this man must be a billionaire who worked hard in his business of car dealerships.
Oh, yeah.
Here's $100,000. Don't worry about money. It just keeps making itself.
Yeah. I think he knows. I think he knows too. I think because they had a conversation before where Tommy said he had a business in New York or wherever. I think I think they know he was being sarcastic in that moment.
No laundromats bring in $100,000 is like, here's some pocket change.
Well, no. We'll give them credit. He did say when he gave him that money before, he said, this doesn't feel legal. So he knows that what he's doing is wrong. What he doesn't know is that his son is also involved in this. And that's why I say
he doesn't even know he has a son.
No, he knows he has
he knows he has a son, but I just mean he doesn't know that kid is his son.
Yeah. So that is the more interesting story. And even Tommy doesn't know that that's his son either. So,
but they're setting it up. They're setting it up in the sense that Eazy-E is dead, right? So
he died in the 90s.
Elijah's dead, and so he needs more soldiers and more people. You have to keep replacing them. So the boy is going to end up, I feel, stepping up and becoming the next in command of whatever he was in now, and is going to end up being more interactive. And he's going to figure out, why is this white guy always hanging around JP's bar or whatever it was, and he's going to be able to put the two and two together. He's going to probably be the one who runs to Jernard to tell him what's really going on, and that's how you get him. And then JP dies.
Yeah, I think what Rich is trying to say, and if this is what he's trying to say, I agree. But I would have rather seen more development of that story than this picture.
Exactly.
This picture thing that they showed us, like
that is exactly what I'm saying. Mm-hmm.
But it could have been like a breadcrumb that they sprinkle so that for the next episode you can eat it.
It's about the past between JP and Tommy, so they want to highlight that for a reason. So we'll get an answer to that. But I agree. Yes, Gary, what you said that's exactly what I feel. They should be focusing on that storyline because, as you mentioned, now we are 5 episodes in. There's only 5 more episodes left in the season, so you have a lot of ground to cover to get to that topic, and they need to develop that because now the next episodes are about to fall out after the Serbian thing, and obviously Merkovich is still alive, so this guy is still the issue. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah, and just to like kind of summarize my thoughts, like just like focus on like if you're gonna give us JP. just focus on that whole father son element, because I think that's the most interesting part about his character. And if you're gonna do this whole mystery behind their past and Kate and JP's father, like just bring Kate back. Like just wait until Kate comes back, and then she argues with JP's father, and all the dirt comes out that way. Like I don't want all these build-ups hinting at Tommy's past, because like I like we know Tommy's past. Like you've told us what he did in the past with Ghost. Like I don't like them just editing his past. Like just give us Kate, his mother, like, and then we'll find out what really happened that way. Like, I want to don't tell us, show us.
So I agree. And the last thing I will say is I just want you to brace yourself, Gary and Dana. When they explore this storyline, it might be okay, but it is damn sure not going to top that dinner table scene from Power Book 2, because they played that excellent to a T. All the build up, all of that. And that's why I say you don't really have that in this show. This is why people saying this show it feels off.
Because Courtney's gone.
Yeah, Courtney's not involved on the show. So that's definitely apparent in what you're watching. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's going to take some work for them to build up a scene like that. Like that scene took like 2 seasons to build up, almost, because we had like all that content from the first season, and then all the stuff that was happening in the second season. But yeah, that was such a brilliant moment, and I just don't think this show has anything like that in the tuck at the moment. So yeah, but let us know your thoughts in the comments, because I'm sure there's some interesting theories out there about the picture that JP was looking at. So please let us know what you all think about that. So I guess the last question I have is, so after this whole shootout with the Serbs and everything, and the whole Liliana being kidnapped and then rescued, it seems there's still some Serbs out there left. So where do you see this whole thing going now? Because I think Tommy's intention was to wrap this whole Serb thing up so they can get back to business, but it seems like there's still a few of them out there. So like, what do you think is going to happen next with Tommy and Liliana? And of course, he's now pulled Diamond and Vic into this too. And like Dana alluded to earlier, now there might be a situation where the Flynns have to step in on this, because Vic was a part of it, and Simon was killed. So where do you see this whole war and this whole gang faction thing going next, from here? So who should I go to first here? Let me think. So I'll go to you first, Dana, since you kind of touched the whole Flynn side of it. But what do you think is going to ultimately take place now after the events of this episode, and Tommy rescuing Liliana from the Serbs and everything?
Walter does it. I told you so dance. Well, he has to step in with his people and get rid of the Serbs, and it's going to be a war he doesn't want. And then also on top of that, they also explained that there was the Irish, because he is the Irish. There's the Polish and someone else. I can't quite remember. But I wonder how that's going to, whether or not he's going to have to bring in the Polish people, or how that is going to come into the full play of things of all of Chicago, and how that works with the different territories. But Walter is definitely going to have to come in, because they're going to come after. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, we're going to only come after Victor. They're going to come after the Flynns in general. So he's going to have to go in and step up to the plate. I don't see him surviving this season. Either way, either whether it's the disease that takes him out, or if he's killed by someone. But I don't see him surviving, but I do see that he's going to have to step in and be like, look, I told you so the first time. This is why you're an actual idiot. And then I always told you was an idiot, and here's the proof of you being an idiot. And I wonder how this will affect Victor. Will he see his idiotism as something that's like, well, I'm still going to break away from you? Or is he going to realize that he needs to listen to what his father is doing? On top of that, we have the whole Claudia situation, and she's going to be involved, but I don't see her being like someone that's going to be deeply involved. She's busy doing her side thing with Dahlia and Tommy. So that whole drug thing, it's going to easily be maybe a war between the Serbs and getting those drugs. I don't really know, but I definitely see that Victor is going to realize maybe he was wrong with this situation. Everyone got their cut. I think it was 33% and 34 or something like that. Yeah. Oh, but it just seems that his father is going to have to really come in. I don't think his father cares about how much percentage you got of a business. He's going to probably just have to come in and bring in the big guns to wipe out the Serbs. And then probably he could be the one who ends up killing either the brother, Diamond or Gerard, as like a "I told you so" situation to get Victor out of being with them. I'm just waiting for him to rain down his vengeance upon everyone.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely gonna be a big price to pay, and if it does end up in a war in which the Flynns have to step in, I definitely feel like Walt, this could be the start of his downfall. So it's going to be interesting to see if they play that card where, like, now that Tommy kind of started this whole thing and included Vic and Diamond, like, if now everybody's implicated and everybody is a target now. And I think that actually might build up some animosity between Tommy and Diamond and Vic and everyone, like, because now he got them into this, and now they kind of have to deal with the consequences if the Serbs, because maybe the Serbs might, they might call in some new troops from abroad, or from outside the country or whatever, like, so it can get real ugly. So yeah, Rich, what do you think is going to happen next with this whole storyline?
So Walter to Tommy, you got a storm coming. Well, Walter needs to follow his own advice, because again, as I mentioned earlier, they showed in this episode that the cops are also looking at Polly, and they're intending to use Polly to get information on the Flynns. So this is going to be an issue, because we know that we saw Polly's son in the previous episode as well. If something happens with the son, or maybe they get access to the son or whatever, and they say you need to cooperate with us, or else, I'm pretty sure that that's the issue from within that's going to be a problem coming. So Walter should definitely worry about that. As for, to answer your question, Gary, this is, and people feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. At no point in this episode did I see that Merkovich acknowledge, oh, CBI and the Flynns are working with Tommy. I didn't get that. Now in the next episode, maybe it could be something whereas there is somebody that it was able to confirm and identify they are also involved in this. That's totally fine. But I think pretty much they're going to continue to come after Tommy. He made it very clear that he wants Tommy Egan dead. So the next episode, obviously they're probably curious as to who was that person that took a shot when we were about to take out Tommy and Liliana. Who was the person that took a shot at us? So it's not over. I mean, Merkovich is the big villain for this season. So, and I would prefer to see Tommy take him out. I don't want to see any other people, because this is a personal thing here now. So, I just think, I mean, again, it just so people know, we haven't seen the preview for the next episode, so we don't know what's going to happen in the next episode. But I'm just going to make a guess that they're going to continue to come after Tommy. They know where his place is at. They know where him and Liliana are at. So now they're just going to continue. And as you said, Gary, they'll probably bring in more soldiers to come after Tommy. And again, they can also come after CBI, and they can also come after the Flynns. My only thing is, I didn't see anything in this episode to indicate that they know that they are involved. They know Tommy got help, but do they know specifically who were the people that he got help? Walter knows, obviously, because Walter warned him, but do they know? So my assumption is that they do know. But we'll see what happens in the next episode. Obviously, I think to get to Vic, if they get to Gloria, well, that's a problem, right? Because Gloria and Vic, Vic still thinks he has something with Gloria. So that's how you get him to cooperate. And then, of course, Gennard still with his brother. They get to Gennard. Well, now, now Diamond is involved as well. So it will continue. And again, I know that Diamond and Vic, they only signed up to do this one job, but they are going to have to continue to see it through now and make sure they take out the Serbs completely. I think they have no choice, especially when they start going after family or love interests in the case of Vic. So we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, I can fully see the barbershop getting shot up at some point this season.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Dana. You was gonna say something.
I was wondering if it ends up being Gerard ends up talking to Walter about taking out Tommy. And they end up working together because it solves two situations all at once. I mean, you have the whole Victor and Gloria thing that he's still worried about, but if you take out Tommy, that will definitely help as well. And everyone can get back to their normal lives probably beforehand, but I would
that's one interaction we haven't seen yet, so that'll be interesting. Although I will say this, if that interaction happens, I do expect the next time we do a recap, Gary's going to say that was a very unnatural interaction.
And nothing made any sense.
Because Walter does not like talking to those black people. So that's why I said, we'll see. We'll see.
Those blacks who shut up everything. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So, I mean, they can go in a lot of different directions. I just think at the end of the day, it needs to end with Tommy taking out Mirkovich, and there has to be some rippling effect. But again, because Tommy caused all of this, it would only make sense that it impacts everybody that helped him. So CBI needs to be impacted by this, and the Flynns need to be impacted by it as well. But we'll see how they actually decide to play that out as the storyline continues.
Yeah. To bounce off of what Dana said, though, I do think it would be interesting to see a scenario where, like, because Tommy has spent this whole time building this alliance between these groups, it would be interesting to then see him become public enemy number one because of this war that he started, and like have Diamond and Jannard and Vic and all of them kind of turn on him. I think in that scenario, though, I think Claudia would continue to work with him. I think she would take his side. And that might actually keep Tommy in the game a little bit, if he has Claudia and Liliana, kind of working with him still. But yeah, I think that could be an interesting scenario to explore where he becomes public enemy number one in the city because of what he's done. Go ahead, Rich.
Two real quick things I want to say real fast. In regards to Claudia, at the end of this episode, you saw May's body is still there and she's getting high snorting. I think, again, we did not see the preview from next week. I could see her calling Tommy and helping her to dispose of the body because we know Tommy knows how to do this stuff. Yeah. This is her first kill. That has to be taken care of. So, and again, they are partners, right? So it makes sense for that to happen. So we'll see about that. But the other point I was going to say is, and this is really a question for you, Gary, and Dana as well as the fans as well of the Power. I just have one question: where the hell are the Yardies? You talk about this group, and then we don't see them at all in the show. They need to fix that.
I don't blame them. No, yes. I would stay out of this too. Let everyone go and kill each other, and then the Yardies take this everything.
Well, see, I agree, but the problem is when they had that meetup in the previous episode, the police went after the Yardies that they were going to meet. I kind of find it funny how they wouldn't blame. Wait a second, we know we were supposed to meet up with these people and they didn't show up. Maybe did they set this up? So I kind of feel like they have a reason if they want to show the Yardies' reaction and then show more about them. But I think it's ridiculous if you only talk about these characters and they're never a part of the show. I just want to make that comment, but continue.
Yo, dog, me not take no disrespect about the man them. See? No, this what's gonna happen, yeah. This is what's gonna happen. So at the end of this season, Tommy is gonna take out Galukovic, or like what's the guy's name?
Mirkovich.
Yeah, he's gonna
whatever his name is. It don't matter. Yeah, whatever his name is. He's a dead man walking. Yes.
yeah, he's gonna take him out, and then that's when the Yardies are gonna show up. Like that's when the Yardies are gonna be the new threat. They're gonna they're gonna see all of this stuff going on, the CBIs, the Flynns, all these people uniting, and they're gonna be like, nah, we're not standing for this. We want our cut too, because their sales are going down because everybody's wanting in on Dahlia now. So I think they're going to be one of the future gangs we do see. I think they're just waiting for the right time to introduce this gang, because we know there are more gangs out there, than what we've seen. So I think, they're just biding their time. That could be a future season thing. Like I'm guessing season 2. So I think we'll see them. And actually the leader is going to be the same guy from Luke Cage season 2. He's going to be.
He is? He is? Oh, hey, I would love to see that. He's a good actor. I would love to see that.
Yeah, his accent got better now, so he's the authentic Yardie Jamaican, So, what'd you think of that, Dana?
I think it's hilarious. We should put back up the interview of him and Luke Cage all those years ago. Oh God, I liked it. I thought it was I think it's really good. And then we have you can't slowly introduce all of the different territories.
Yeah. Chicago is a big city, and it's very much known for its gang history and culture and everything. And there are a lot of different factions in Chicago, so there's a lot they could do. Like I don't think it would be realistic to do everything at once, like to show every gang at once. So yeah, there's definitely room for them to expand more on the Yardies later on.
And the last point I will say is I agree, Gary. There's a lot that they could do to expand on the shows, introduce new gangs, but the show has to get approved for a second season first. And you best believe that 50 Cent will not be happy if that doesn't happen. So
it's getting approved. We already know that it's going to be renewed. 50 Cent knows it. They're just throwing a fit. 3.3 million debut. It got renewed when it debuted.
Mm-hmm.
No, if you saw it, 50's Instagram, he packed up and left Stars.
But isn't every week he's threatening to leave?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure it will get renewed because Stars want to be like the Netflix, for these kind of shows and stuff. So I'm sure they'll renew because they need that content. Go ahead, Dana.
As someone who interviewed the president of Stars, that is quite the opposite. What they want to do is provide content for specific people. They're not out there to start, fighting with Netflix and Disney Plus. Their goal is to create content that is maybe it's just for you. Maybe it's only for a select few, but they're not trying to have all these different things all at once. And then you pick and choose. If you like Stars, you like Stars. If not, you want to find some content anywhere, go anywhere else.
I agree. And one of those specific audiences are people that like drug shows, because you got Hightown, you have Power, you have BMF. So yes, that's in their target audience.
As someone who is still slightly embargoed, they have other things. Remember, there is their Outlander that got renewed for 6th season.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Spanish Princess. They have all of these other shows. They're coming out with Billy the Kid. No, that's Epic. Sorry, they're coming out. They have the season 2 of P Valley. They also have the Julia Roberts and Sean. The dude that everyone hates, Sean Penn show, which is actually really good, but I can't talk about it. They have that's upcoming. There's a lot of white people shows that they have. Also, they have Shining Veil, which is about ghosts, a ghost story that I interviewed 2 years ago, but because of the panorama, they couldn't release it. So there's a whole bunch of things that it's coming. Mm-hmm. That's not just black people. Because even I was like, what? Julia Roberts on Stars? What's going on? But yeah.
Sounds good.
Oh, that's cool. And yeah, obviously, they're not exactly like Netflix, but to me, they're like the drug dealer Netflix. So
oh yeah. There's a lot of drug shows. They want to let you know. They want to let you know drugs are bad. Don't use them, and don't sell them either. So that's
Yeah, but they are doing more. I think 50 actually has a lot of other type of shows like
Hmm.
documentaries and docu series and stuff like that. So
But that's based on
so
the drug thing, isn't it?
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. On BMF. Yep. You're right,
BMI
Gary.
documentary.
You're
I
right.
no,
know
he's
they,
Absolutely.
got some stuff about hip hop coming too, like about
but that's
the
probably
history
will
of hip
involve
hop.
the drug
Yeah.
stuff.
It's gonna be some people on that show that also did drugs. So yeah, that's correct.
But yeah, great thoughts. That is gonna do it for this week. This has been a very entertaining show. Can't wait to see what the people say. We're gonna go around the board and get shout outs now. So Dana, you got any shout outs?
Shout outs once again to everyone who listens to us ramble. Thank you for your time and listening to us. We have a lot more that is upcoming. We have, like we said, the Batman, and we also have stuff on the YouTubes and more interviews that's coming up with more of the cast of the Batman. We will be breaking down, um, without any spoilers, we will be breaking down the sequels. We already know the sequels. We already know the TV shows that are coming. We will be talking about that ending that we can't talk about right now, but we'll be talking about that ending for the Batman. Um, we will be having that coming up, and we're in. It's a. We have an upcoming. Without giving everything away, we have an upcoming stars interview with a person from the Power universe. That's what we can say.
Wow.
That'll be coming. So well, we're not dropping dates, but everything's in the works. That's what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna list things.
Yeah, that's good.
See, that's smart because anything can happen.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
look out for that. And
look for that on the site on everything. We have the whole Sebastian Stan thing was over on the site. Fresh. His movie came out today. It's amazing. Go watch it. We have that on the site as well. Sebastian Stan, and there's some Moon Knight stuff. So night that moon.
yeah, I definitely want to give you your flowers, Dana, because I know you've been working hard on the content, and I can't wait for this this other Batman review that's coming, the spoiler version,
Oh yeah.
with everyone on it. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to see the movie myself first, but yeah, I can't wait for all the good stuff. And then also Richard Bailey Jr. You got any shout outs?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to all the people that continue to watch and comment and like the content on the channel. We very much enjoy when you engage, share your thoughts on the TV shows, and provide feedback if you agree or disagree with our points. So please continue to do that. And yes, please continue to like, because we definitely want more people to watch the shows and share their opinions. Also, Gary and I recorded a snowfall aftermath episode yesterday, and I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're watching Force, Force is, and you're a Power fan, okay, that's cool. Force is cool, but you really need to watch Snowfall. This show is fantastic. John Singleton, I think he will be very happy. Even though he's no longer here, he will be very happy that the show is still going on and is still doing very good numbers for FX. So definitely watch the recap because the last episode was fantastic. I would definitely want to hear more people comment with their thoughts as to what they think is going to happen. And as Dana mentioned, we do have more reviews coming, especially the Batman this weekend. So stay tuned for more content. And thank you for your continued support.
And The Walking Dead.
Oh yes, The Walking Dead also. Yes,
The Walking Dead also, and they're already on the site. We have an interview with the guy who plays Eugene. There's will be more interviews that is coming up on the website as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
look out for all of that.
Yeah, and shouts to you also, Rich, because yeah, it's always a pleasure doing those snowfall recaps too. Yeah, and I just want the people to know that us British people are taking over your television in America. I will be playing like one of the yardies in the next Power Force, so I'm gonna win an Emmy. So yeah, but big shouts to all the loyal listeners of this show. Kwame, Robert Silver, all the people who leave comments, Rainy J, everyone, who continues to come back and support the show and grace us with your thoughts, your opinions, whether even if you're like calling us out for something we said, like I still enjoy reading all the comments. So please do, do that. Like I look forward to it every week. and that just makes it all worth it. You know, that we have a little community here of people who like to talk about this stuff. So I very much, you know, appreciate all of that. So yeah, and a big shout outs to Stars too, you know, for allowing us access to the show, because they allow us to you know be able to do this in a timely manner, because
Mhm.
you know we have busy schedules. So just them allowing us to, you know, do this at the time that we do it, you know, big thanks to them also. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. But we will return next week to cover episode 6. Um, and yeah, very much looking forward to the direction they take with this next episode, given what's happened in this one. So yeah, we'll be back again. Until then, take care, stay well, everyone, and you know, enjoy any movies you might be going out to see this weekend. Remember, COVID is still a thing, so protect yourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, peace out.